Hey y'all, how you doing? In my last video entitled Bourbon Street Blues, I was talking about the book by Greg Herron, but in the opening of that video, I talked about how I had looked at my solar return chart, which occurred about a week and a half ago, and I even noticed this before I looked at the chart that there was something of an imbalance in my life between the spiritual and the mundane, and that I had basically filled up every empty space in my life with some sort of spiritual activity or spiritual element. And so the spiritual and the mundane were out of balance. And so I need to sort of synthesize these two aspects of my life to be more in harmony with one another. And one of the ways I was doing that was by taking things that I already liked and shifting my focus to be more of the mundane rather than the spiritual. For example, one of the things I like to do is read books. So instead of reading books about witches and magic and astrology and spells and what have you, I shifted my focus to where I was reading other things that I was interested in, like murder mysteries. Same thing with movies and TV shows. I like to watch movies that have a supernatural element, or TV shows that have a supernatural element, like Supernatural and Charmed and what have you. And so I'm sort of shifting my focus with that by watching TV shows that I like but don't have that sort of element. And so another thing that I like to do, I meant to mention it in my last video, is a while back my doctor put me on the keto diet, which I got on, I've lost weight, and then with COVID-19 hit, I kind of got off track with it. But during that time, I really enjoyed learning to cook new things because I couldn't eat the things I used to eat, and that was frustrating for me. And then I found a book called the Southern Keto Cookbook, and it allowed me to cook keto versions of foods that I grew up with and liked. But I also had to learn to cook new things as well. For example, today I'm trying a new recipe in about an hour. It's basically a shrimp Alfredo meal using these special noodles. I think it's called, correct me if I'm wrong, shirataki or something like that. And then later tonight, for supper, I've already planned out, I'm going to broil some pork chops and make keto macaroni and cheese, which is made out of cauliflower, and then probably add some other vegetable like broccoli spears or something, broccoli or asparagus. Anyway, if that's something that you guys are interested in, I'd be happy to share some of the recipes and things I've learned. Anyway, getting back to the point of this video, someone asked me after that video if I was going to continue to make these videos, if I'm going to be less spiritual and more mundane. The answer is yes. That's the short answer, but there's a longer answer in that. The thing I want you guys to understand about astrology is you can go as deep into this as you like. There are multiple different charts. There is your natal chart, you have your lunar return chart, your solar return chart, you have progressions, you have Venus return, Mars return. I'm having my Jupiter return in a couple of months, which happens once every 12 years, so that's exciting. But I look at these charts as sort of a lesson plan or a syllabus. You know, when you're in school, the teacher doesn't just show up one day and go, okay, well, today I guess we'll learn the multiplication table. And the next day they go, okay, well, today I guess we'll diagram sentences. No. Teachers create a lesson plan for you for the school year. And there are usually tests along the way, you know, after each lesson, or they may test you at the beginning of the year to get a general idea of where you are, and then test you at the end of the year to see how far you've grown. And then there are, you know, little tests along the way for each little lesson. These charts are multi-dimensional. Your natal chart is your syllabus or lesson plan for your life. There may be a theme, but there's not just one lesson in this chart. Same goes with your lunar return and your solar return. It's not just one lesson. These are multi-dimensional, and there are different things. You're not just here to work on one thing. You're here to work on different things, and your monthly chart and your yearly chart gives you the opportunity to learn these sort of mini lessons along the way, as you're learning your major life lessons, so that you can continue to grow and evolve as a person. And again, you can go as deep as you want to in these charts. If you want to, you can focus solely on your natal chart. You might want to look at your north node and the south node. What am I here to develop? That's my north node. What am I here to erase or pull away from? That's your south node. You may want to look at your rising sign, because even though your sun sign is associated with your identity, as you get older, I was taught that people become more like their rising sign. So your rising can be something that you sort of aspire to. Your descendant, which is the opposite from your rising sign, is what attracts you to other people, what other people attract from you, and therefore what you can learn from your relationships. These are just a couple of things that you can learn from your chart. Again, you can even take this deeper with each of your planets and positions. Each of these planets and positions, they have what some astrologers call a high vibration and a low vibration, or a light side and a dark side. And so when you're first born, you have the full potential of these planets inside of you, and you're afforded these opportunities to either evolve them to the high vibration, or you get sort of stuck in the low vibration. For example, my moon in Aries, quick to anger. I'm going to be honest with you. I may still have part of it in my life now, but I recognize that I have something of an attitude problem around anger. And that is a lot of reasons for that I'm not going to get into. But that's something I've had to work on in my life, is not to be so quick to anger. And with the moon in Aries, like, things build up in me, and then I explode, and then I let it go, and I'm fine again. But those explosions have gotten me into a lot of trouble in my life, and I've had to raise the vibration of that moon. And the same thing goes with your, the sun through Pluto. What you have to ask yourself: what does your planet need? What does this planet need? My moon in Aries, it needs to be expressed. It needs to not build up. So I've learned to recognize what are my triggers, and to deal with them in a healthy manner, and don't be like a teapot. Just let all that pressure build up and blow over. I address things as they happen, and I also learn to pick and choose my battles. Some things just are not worth getting angry over. So part of my moon in Aries needs to learn, because the moon is changing. The moon goes from new, waxing, full, waning, and so your feelings can change about something. Some things you may feel stronger about. Some things it's just not worth arguing about, and let it go. And that's something that I am continuing to learn in my life's journey. And again, that's just one planet. So going back to my solar return, and the person asked me if I'm going to continue to make these videos. Again, yes, definitely, because you know what? In my solar return chart, I have Mercury in the 10th house. Now, Mercury is all about communication and the exchange of information, ideas, and thoughts. And the 10th house is usually associated with your career, but it's also your public reputation, and it represents the public in general. So when we combined Mercury with the 10th house, what do we have? Mass communication, right? And that's really what these YouTube videos are. It's a form of mass communication. And with Mercury being in the 10th house, this is a good year for me to share my thoughts and ideas with you, the public. And because Mercury is not debilitated, meaning it doesn't have a whole lot of quote-unquote bad or challenging aspects um, it should, you should see this page grow. There's only, I'm looking at it right now, only 2 squares to Mercury right now in this chart. And squares in a chart represent challenges to be overcome. They are usually things that make you stronger. Think of yourself getting sick, and then your body fights it off and you build up a tolerance. That's like squares are. You can either succumb to it and lose, or you can rise to the occasion and overcome the challenge and be stronger. So my intention is to continue making these videos. I hope to see this page grow. I do look at my numbers, but I try not to let it affect how I feel about this page. Of course, I would love to see the number of shares on social media and the number of likes go up, 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 but that's out of my control, and that goes back to my moon in Aries. I'm not going to get angry about it. I'm just going to keep doing what I continue to do and hope you guys can find value in these videos and enjoy it. So anyway, that's more astrology talk. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't be afraid. I'm not going to go anywhere. Again, I have been working on a personal project the last couple of weeks. If you want to know, this is the personal project. I am pulling together a lot of my research on a certain subject, and usually I would type this up on paper, cut off the edges, and then tape it or glue it into the page, and that's really fast, and this is going to be like a reference for me. But I had the stupid idea that I wanted to handwrite it, and I'm a Virgo, guys. Look, this is one thing. This is one page that I'm working on. So my handwriting is neat. I want it to be neat. I'm drawing things in here, and so what I do is I try to break it up into smaller bits and pieces, and I'll write my research into this book until my hand hurts, and then I'll take a break and I'll go work on something else. I'll get my steps in, I'll get my clothes out for the next day, I'll plan my menu, I'll figure out what do I want to talk about in my next video, and things of that nature. So that is the reason why I haven't really been making videos much, because it's just taking up a lot of my time. And even now, I'm taking a break from it. I've got halfway through one page. I got another page I want to complete by the end of the day, and then tomorrow I'll move on to another subject within this broad umbrella of the subject that that book is about. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, make good decisions, do good things, and be good people.